Picture this. You slide behind the wheel of a glistening new electric car, tap the accelerator, and zip from zero to highway speed in near silence. When it's time to refuel, you pull up to a charging station, plug in, and within a handful of minutes, less time than it takes to finish a cup of coffee, your battery is fully charged. No range anxiety, no waiting around. You could travel from the bustling streets of New York City all the way to Boston and still have plenty of charge left for detours or a spontaneous trip to Cape Cod. This scenario might have sounded like pure science fiction just a few years ago, but today, Nissan claims it is on the verge of making it reality. The company that recently managed to coax more than 300 miles out of its latest Nissan Leaf is now pursuing an even loftier goal, ushering in a new era of electric vehicles powered by game-changing solid-state batteries. But the real question is, can Nissan actually win the global battery race and reshape the entire electric vehicle landscape? Or will it stumble, like so many others who once promised breakthroughs but failed to deliver? Let's step back and understand why this moment matters. Over the past decade, the electric vehicle, or EV, revolution has swept across continents. In the early days, models like the Nissan Leaf and Tesla Model S were pioneers, proving that the world could move beyond gasoline. The current Nissan Leaf, for instance, relies on a 52 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, delivering just over 300 miles of range in ideal conditions. That's impressive, but even the most devoted EV owners know the pain points. Long-distance trips require careful planning, charging infrastructure is still growing, and refueling is never as quick or convenient as a traditional gas pump. Charging at home overnight is fine for daily commutes, but cross-country road trips can still trigger range anxiety, a psychological barrier that has slowed mass adoption. Lithium-ion batteries, like those in today's electric vehicles, represented a massive leap forward from the lead-acid batteries of previous decades. They made electric vehicles a practical reality for millions. Yet, they come with real limitations. They are heavy, expensive, and their flammable liquid electrolytes create safety risks. Manufacturing them at scale requires vast resources, from rare minerals like lithium and cobalt to intricate supply chains stretching from South America's salt flats to high-tech factories in China and Japan. Even now, lithium-ion batteries account for a huge percentage of an electric vehicle's total cost, sometimes up to 40% or more. Enter the great global battery arms race. In boardrooms and research labs from Tokyo to Silicon Valley, an astonishing wave of investment is pouring into one central question: what comes after lithium-ion? Automakers and tech giants are spending billions of dollars, hiring thousands of engineers, and striking alliances with startups and universities to find the answer. The consensus is forming around one technology: solid-state batteries, often called SSBs. Why the excitement? Solid-state batteries promise a genuine revolution. They could offer up to 30% more energy density than today's top lithium-ion batteries. This means you could pack the same amount of energy into a smaller, lighter battery, or, for the same size and weight, deliver around 100 additional miles of range. Imagine the Nissan Leaf, already a leader in efficiency, suddenly able to travel from Los Angeles to San Francisco without stopping, or a pickup truck that can tow heavy loads across state lines on a single charge. This isn't just about convenience, it's about changing the economics of electric vehicles entirely. The potential impact on cost is just as profound. With solid-state batteries, manufacturing expenses could be slashed by as much as 1/3. This is because solid-state designs simplify battery construction, use fewer moving parts, and can be produced with less reliance on rare minerals. If automakers achieve true pricing parity with gasoline vehicles by the end of this decade, as Nissan predicts, electric cars could finally become accessible to a much wider audience, not just affluent early adopters, but families and commuters everywhere. But there's another benefit that often flies under the radar: safety. Today's lithium-ion batteries use volatile, flammable liquid electrolytes. Under certain conditions, say a manufacturing defect or a severe crash, these can catch fire, leading to dramatic headlines and public concern. Solid-state batteries, by contrast, use solid electrolytes made from ceramic, glass, or solid polymers, drastically reducing fire risk. As Shunichi Inamijima, a Nissan vice president, declared, "Our all-solid-state battery technology is a game-changer for making EV sales grow explosively." The stakes could hardly be higher, and the competition is fierce. Toyota, Nissan's longtime Japanese rival, has announced ambitious plans for a limited production run of solid-state battery-powered vehicles as soon as the year 2027. American giants Ford and General Motors are racing to catch up, while European heavyweights like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche are investing heavily in their own SSB research. Even technology titans like Huawei and Xiaomi are getting in on the action, with bold claims about 5-minute charging times and energy densities that could double today's benchmarks. Consider Toyota's plan, for example. The company claims it will debut solid-state batteries in hybrid vehicles before rolling them out to fully electric models. Meanwhile, Ford and BMW are collaborating with startups such as Solid Power to develop automotive-sized cells that could deliver 375 watt-hours per kilogram, substantially higher than the best lithium-ion packs today. In China, a government-backed consortium known as KSIP aims to build a complete solid-state battery supply chain by the year 2030, ensuring that Chinese automakers can compete on the global stage. Even with these obstacles, Nissan remains confident. The company's pilot production line in Yokohama, Japan, is already humming with activity. Engineers are building and testing solid-state cells, refining the process, and gathering data to prepare for mass manufacturing. Christophe Amblard, Nissan's European product planner, recently confirmed, "Yes, we will be ready for SSB in 2028, but we can't rush the process. We have to be sure that this technology is reliable and ready to meet our customers' expectations." Nissan's chief executive officer, Makoto Uchida, has spoken with a sense of urgency rare in the famously cautious Japanese auto industry. Emerging players are making inroads at incredible speed, necessitating a departure from conventional wisdom and a traditional approach, he said. The message is clear. The winners of the solid-state race will not only dominate the electric vehicle market, they could reshape the entire global auto industry. But the risks are enormous. Experts warn that, even in the most optimistic scenarios, early batches of solid-state batteries may only be available for flagship vehicles, high-end sports cars like the Nissan GT-R, or limited edition models designed to showcase the technology. Mass market adoption could take years longer, as automakers work to bring down costs and prove reliability across millions of miles and countless charging cycles. There's also the question of infrastructure. Ultra-fast charging stations capable of delivering 5-minute top-ups don't yet exist on a wide scale. As one industry analyst put it, Huawei's claims of a 3,000-kilometer range and 5-minute charging would require a charging infrastructure that is not yet commercially available. Let's imagine, for a moment, what the world could look like if Nissan's vision becomes reality by the late 2020s. Electric vehicles could become the default choice for drivers everywhere. Imagine a future where you drive from Paris to Berlin on a single charge, stop for a quick lunch, and leave with a full battery in less time than it takes to check your email. Fleets of delivery vans, taxis, and even heavy trucks could switch to electric power, slashing emissions and operating costs. Developing nations, long priced out of the electric vehicle revolution, could leapfrog directly to affordable, clean transportation. Nissan is not alone in chasing this future. Toyota, BMW, and a host of Chinese disruptors like BYD and NIO are all fiercely competing for solid-state supremacy. In the United States, General Motors is partnering with research firms to develop batteries that could power both electric cars and next-generation aircraft. Meanwhile, tech companies like Huawei and Xiaomi are filing patents for novel solid-state architectures, such as sulfide-based designs and layered electrodes, that promise ever higher energy densities and lightning-fast charging. Still, mass production remains the biggest hurdle. Nissan's pilot line in Yokohama is a crucial step, but building millions of batteries that meet the company's exacting standards is an order of magnitude more difficult. Early solid-state batteries may find their way into Halo models, a futuristic GT-R or the next-generation Leaf designed to wow early adopters and automotive journalists. But the true test will come when these batteries power thousands, then millions of everyday vehicles, used in all climates and conditions, over decades of service. The economics are just as challenging. While Nissan forecasts cost reductions of up to 30% once solid-state batteries reach scale, initial units may be expensive. Battery supply chains will need to adapt, with new sources of raw materials and specialized manufacturing equipment. Suppliers will have to retrain workers, and automakers must redesign vehicles from the ground up to take advantage of smaller, lighter, and safer battery packs. And then there's the question of reliability. Lithium-ion batteries have benefited from decades of real-world data. Engineers know how they age, how to manage their temperature, and how to ensure safety. Solid-state batteries are new territory. Will they last for hundreds of thousands of miles? Can they withstand extreme heat and cold? Will they degrade gracefully or fail suddenly? These are questions that only years of testing can answer. If Nissan stumbles, if delays mount, technical issues arise, or costs remain stubbornly high, the door could swing open for rivals like Toyota, which aims to launch solid-state vehicles as soon as 2026. Chinese companies, backed by massive state investments in a vast domestic market, could seize the lead. American startups, nimble and hungry, might find niches in commercial fleets or luxury segments. The race is wide open, and the prize, a multi-trillion-dollar global market, is too big for any one company to ignore. On the other hand, if Nissan's vision pans out, the consequences could be transformative. Imagine a world where electric vehicles cost the same, or even less, than their gasoline counterparts, with zero compromise on range, charging speed, or safety. Adoption would skyrocket, not just in wealthy nations, but across Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Cities would become quieter, cleaner, and less dependent on fossil fuels. Air would be cleaner, greenhouse gas emissions would plummet, and the world's dependence on oil could finally break. And these advances wouldn't stop at cars. Solid-state batteries could power next-generation smartphones, laptops, and wearables, making them lighter and able to run for days on a single charge. Electric aircraft, cargo ships, and even grid-level energy storage could all benefit from this leap forward. In fact, the International Energy Agency's Teo Lombardo recently noted, because of their high energy density, solid-state batteries will be most appropriate for electric vehicles, rather than stationary energy storage systems. Yet, as technologies improve, there could be spillover benefits for renewable energy grids and remote communities. So what does all this mean for you, sitting at home and watching this video? First, prepare for rapid and unpredictable change. The next car you buy, especially if you wait a few years, could be built around technology that seemed impossible just a decade ago. Charging will become as easy as filling up at a gas station, and range anxiety could become a thing of the past. If you're an investor, a supplier, or a policymaker, Nissan's progress is a signal. The landscape is shifting, and those who move first, or adapt fastest, will capture the biggest rewards. Even tech fans and everyday drivers should pay close attention, not just to car brands, but to the entire ecosystem. Battery startups, material suppliers, and companies building charging networks will all play a role in shaping the next chapter of transportation. The winners of the solid-state battery race will influence not just what we drive, but how we build cities, manage energy, and even fight climate change. Here's a secret that most people miss. The solid-state revolution is not just about better batteries. It's about a fundamental transformation in how we design, build, and experience vehicles. Nissan is betting big on gigacasting, a radical process that uses 6,000-ton machines to produce large sections of a car's body in a single piece. This approach, inspired by Tesla's innovations, allows for faster, cheaper production and opens the door to new vehicle architectures optimized for electric power. Combine this with affordable, safe, high-energy solid-state batteries, and you have the ingredients for an electric vehicle tipping point. Consider, for example, the possibilities for commercial vehicles. Delivery vans and trucks, currently limited by range and charging times, could operate around the clock, recharging during brief stops. Ride-sharing fleets could quickly swap batteries or recharge between passengers, slashing downtime. Even emergency services and public transport could benefit, with vehicles always ready for action and less vulnerable to fires or hazardous spills. But there are still hurdles to clear. Mass production requires enormous capital investment, building gigafactories, securing supplies of rare materials, and training a new generation of engineers and technicians. Governments will need to update regulations, ensure safety standards, and invest in charging infrastructure that can support ultra-fast charging at scale. International competition may lead to trade tensions or supply chain disruptions, as countries vie for dominance in the technologies that will define the 21st century. History offers some lessons. The transition from horse-drawn carriages to gasoline cars in the early 20th century was not seamless. There were setbacks, false starts, and unexpected winners and losers. Companies that embraced new technologies, adapted quickly, and built robust supply chains emerged as the giants of their era. Those that clung to the past were left behind. The same dynamic is playing out today as the world races toward an electric future. Still, experts remain both optimistic and cautious. Xin Li, a researcher at Harvard University, recently explained, Our research shows you could use other materials as an anode, such as silver, magnesium, or silicon, a leap forward towards mass production. But translating laboratory breakthroughs into millions of reliable, affordable batteries is a marathon, not a sprint. So, can Nissan overcome the technical, economic, and logistical challenges to bring solid-state batteries to market first? All signs suggest they are better positioned than most, with a clear timeline, strong investment, and a dedicated pilot production line. But the next 2 to 3 years will be decisive. If Nissan succeeds, it will not just catch up in the electric vehicle race. It could leapfrog the competition, triggering a wave of innovation that reshapes the entire industry. If not, the dream of solid-state dominance may remain just out of reach, waiting for the next challenger to seize the crown. And now, we turn the question to you. Will Nissan's gamble pay off, or will another dark horse snatch victory in the final stretch? Do you think solid-state batteries will finally deliver the breakthrough that makes electric vehicles truly mainstream, or is this just another chapter of big promises and dashed hopes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of technology and the global economy, be sure to like, subscribe, and